Mondays podcast.
The worst episode ever. Rest assured that I was on the internet within minutes, registering my disgust throughout the world.
Topics from comic books, video games, movies, and more.
My calculations are correct. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
Let the game begin.
I have no date. A 2-liter bottle of Shasta and my all-rush mixtape. Let's rock.
And here's your host.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Man Cave Mondays. I am Caveman Bobby, and I will be shortly joined after by my fellow cavemen. Today, we are talking about Mortal Kombat. All right, I'm going to spare you my bad singing voice. But yes, today we're going to talk about the HBO Max's version of the 2021 release of Mortal Kombat. So if you don't know what Mortal Kombat is, Mortal Kombat was originally an arcade video game made by Midway Games in 1992, all the way back where the dinosaurs came from. Since 1992, there has been 18 versions of this game, 8 of which have been original fighting games, 3 of which have been action-adventure games, and 7 others which have either been re-releases and upgrades to the port. There have been 3 live-action movies, various animations, and comic books based on the Mortal Kombat series as well. Just to get the basic gist of Mortal Kombat, Mortal Kombat is about, the game takes place on Earth Realm, where a tournament is being held on Shang Tsung's island, on which 7 other locations serve as stages for the game. The introduction to Mortal Kombat explains that Shang Tsung was banished to Earthrealm 500 years previously, and with the help of monstrous Goro, is able to seize control of the Mortal Kombat tournament in an attempt to doom the realm. Earthrealm is our realm, by the way. For 500 years straight, Goro has been undefeated in the tournament and won 9 consecutive tournaments. If Goro wins again, Shao Kahn, Emperor of the Outworld, will be allowed to take over Earthrealm. In order to prevent this, a new generation of warriors must challenge Goro. The player receives information about characters and biographies during the attract mode in the original video game series. And the movies have been fairly based on this concept. So recently, according to wikipedia.com, so far the new Mortal Kombat movie has just made 74. I just had it right here. It was, where is my magic? Mortal Kombat here. The new Mortal Kombat game has just made over 79.7 million worldwide. And right now we have Caveman Alberto joining us today. Alberto, how you doing today?
Doing pretty good. How about you, Bobby? I'm
good. I was just talking about Mortal Kombat, what it is and how much money so far it's made in the box office. So 74 million worldwide. What was your first interaction with this video game?
First one was when I think I was maybe like 3 or 4 years old, and the N64 had the Mortal Kombat 3 Ultimate, and they had the gigantic roster. And I was at my cousin's house, and we were playing games that we should not be allowed to play at a young age. But
at 3 and 4, playing Mortal Kombat.
Yes, yeah. But
was there blood in that version?
Yeah. At least I remember there was, because I remember we could do the stage fatalities when you can like uppercut somebody and they'll fall onto the spikes underneath and whatnot.
Okay.
So I remember seeing all that stuff, and my cousin has an older brother who's about like 10 years older, so that's how we ended up getting the game. So he was already like 17 years old or something. One of his friends gave it to him. So that was my first experience. I didn't know how to play. I remember it was just really fun button mashing left and right with all the different characters. Obviously, during then, you don't know the special combo moves and the special moves and how to activate them and whatnot. So I remember I ended up sticking with Sub-Zero. Sometimes people might think that like, oh, for Mortal Kombat, you really like this character, right? You like the way that you connect with him or something. And in reality, that's not the case at all. Sub-Zero was just the only one I ended up figuring out how to do the special moves to. So I ended up sticking with him as I grew up, and that's it. So I mean now that I know more of his character, now I love him as a character. But back then I loved him and I picked him. I was like, this is the only one I figured out how to do anything. It was between this and Liu Kang, and I ended up sticking with Sub-Zero.
Liu Kang was probably my go-to character because he was the easiest moves to learn. And I wasn't a big action fighter game myself. Whenever I played, I was a button masher, and all my friends always beat me most of the time, unless I was like super lucky. But I first played the game back when it originally showed up in the arcade in 1992.
Whoa! So you played the first one then?
I played the first one, yes, and I had it on SNES where there was no blood. And the only way you could get blood was connecting it to a Game Genie. Because SNES had like a family friendly policy, and they changed all the color of the blood to sweat.
Green. Oh, sweat. That's the
sweat. Yeah, so it was sweat. And they toned down some of the fatalities, but you got a lot of the gory stuff in the Genesis version. Of Mortal Kombat. So so you saw this movie, Mortal Kombat. Where did you see it at? Was it in the movie theater? Where did you see it on HBO Max? How did you see this?
This one was an HBO Max experience for me. Though part of me wonders if I had seen this in the theaters, would I have liked it more? There are definitely some movies that benefit from the giant screen and blockbuster speakers.
From the whole experience, from the whole movie theater experience.
Yeah.
So what did you, out of 5 stars, what do you give this movie?
I kind of go back and forth. There's a big part of me that is like, there's the fanboy part of me that's really upset as to like how they handled some of the characters and more specifically like the pacing. But just to short answer your question, I normally will settle on a 3 out of 5. I feel like that's such a safe bet. It was all right. It wasn't offensively bad, but it wasn't spectacularly good. It was just a solid movie. It was just all right. 3 out of 5.
Have you ever seen the original Mortal Kombat movie, the original live action movie?
Yeah.
What do you think of that one?
So I loved it growing up because I was a kid. It was super campy. Yeah. So anything like that you fall in love with. As time went on, I started to like it a little less, and it was more of like, I just like this because it's nostalgic. But now that we have a modern day version, and we got the 90s version. Yeah. Now I understand, like, tonally, those are 2 different stories also being told. The 95 one did not take itself serious, and there was a part of me that used to think that was its downfall, but now I look back and I'm like, that was probably its greatest strengths. Because when you think about it, they have some guy that can shoot lightning. They got some guy that does bicycle kicks in midair. Some guy that can shoot ice balls out of his hand. So I think it was really good, and I really, really love it though.
See, I personally like the first one better. I like the original 19. So not Mortal Kombat Annihilation. That one was horrible.
Yeah, no. Annihilation, no. That one didn't happen, Bobby. That one didn't happen.
Well, it happened whether you like it or not, but it happened. That one was just bad. That one was rushed out the door. They did so much changing and whatever. The effects were even worse. What I liked about the 1995 version was the original the soundtrack. Mortal Kombat, so I thought I dug that. 2, I thought, I was able to grasp on to the players, or to the characters and relate to them. And it wasn't as and maybe I'm seeing this through, nostalgic lenses, but I thought, again, they had a lot going against it because they wanted to they made it PG-13, so they couldn't make it as gory. Yeah. So they were the movie was definitely held back, but I felt story-wise, it was still It was a fun movie. It was something I was looking forward to a sequel to. And I was invested in it to see what they were going to do, what that was going to happen. And Annihilation came. I was like, now I'm done.
Yeah.
So.
But Annihilation, I remember watching that one too because I was so excited. Even as a kid, though, like for a kid to think a movie sucks, the movie really has to suck because
it really does.
Yeah, like kids are entertained by pretty much anything. I always use this example anytime I talk about nostalgia and how much it really blinds us. But for the longest time, I would die on the hill defending the statement that Frankie Muniz's and Amanda Bynes' Big Fat Liar movie was the greatest movie of all time, and nothing will ever change that mindset. And looking back, I'm like, that really was not that good of a movie. It was really cheesy. It was funny for its time. It's a good kid movie. But like I said, for a kid to say that movie sucked, it has to be awful. And Annihilation was just terrible. It was just so bad.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy it.
The acting and everything. So we're both in agreement.
Die.
That's like the most quoted
line
clip right now.
Yeah.
Whenever talking about Mortal Kombat Annihilation. So some of the changes that they made in this movie. What can you, Alberto, talk about the 2021 movie? What was the basis? What was the general base of the movie? What give your 5-second, what is it about? You're trying to sell me on this movie. What is Mortal Kombat 2021?
Movie opens up with ninjas. So the movie opens up with a ninja fight, and it really sets the scene, for the action, the gore, and really the storyline. It becomes a real revenge tale almost, kind of hidden underneath its tongue, but it becomes like an assassination revenge tale underneath it all. All the other characters really are supporting the Sub-Zero Scorpion storyline. That's really what it's going to be supporting, though, despite the fact that that's the main focus. You really don't see a lot of Scorpion and Sub-Zero. So the selling point, it's a Scorpion Sub-Zero movie.
So we just have our friend Christian is joining us. Christian is joining us in a second. How you doing?
Doing well. How are you guys?
We're just talking about the new Mortal Kombat movie that was just released on HBO Max.
Oh, yeah.
Alberto just gave it 3.5 stars out of 5. Christian, what do you think of it?
I thought it was better than what I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
And I thought it was about as good as it could have been while still staying true to what Mortal Kombat is.
Out of how many stars would you have given it? Just to kind of,
I would say right about the same, 3.5.
3.5. Okay.
3.5, maybe inching closer to 4, but I would say 3.5 is a pretty solid rating.
What is your connection to the Mortal Kombat franchise? When did you first interact with this franchise?
First interaction, I've never been a big fighting game guy very much.
Yeah.
So I don't have as deep of a connection to Mortal Kombat as some people might. I'm definitely familiar with it. I think the earliest one I remember was probably one of the ones like right before the PlayStation 3 came out.
Okay.
Like that late PlayStation 2 life cycle. I don't remember which one it was, but I remember that was the first one that I really played even remotely. And then yeah, I've never been a big Mortal Kombat guy, so I'm familiar with most of the characters. I played them here and there, but not a super deep connection for me personally.
Have you ever seen the movies or read the comic books connected to this franchise?
I watched both of the older movies when I was younger.
Okay, what did you think of the original movies?
Campy and cheesy and everything that a 80s 9/90s action movie was at the time.
Okay.
It was perfect for the genre, for the era it came out in.
Would you agree that Annihilation was a really bad? The second one, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, is probably the worst out of all the 3 movies.
Oh, by a mile.
So we're all in agreement right there.
Yeah, I would say the first one is probably pretty on par ranking wise with me for different reasons.
Yeah.
The Annihilation is like a 1, if even.
Right. Yeah. I think we're all agree. I think we all agree on that. So we were just talking about, so far it's made 74 million worldwide, this new version.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about what is this movie about? So it starts, Alberto was just talking about how it starts off in like ancient Japan where, and ends up an underlying theme. It's Scorpion versus Sub-Zero, but then it gets into, the main part of what Mortal Kombat is, that there's a evil warlord from another dimension that's going to come attack. It's going to take over Earth, and uses this tournament to take over the planet. Yeah, and it uses
he's trying to just even subvert the tournament and just saying, "Screw it! I'll just kill everybody before the tournament even happens, and there won't need to be a tournament."
There was not even a tournament in it. It was like the pre-tournament.
Yeah, because they said the director said that his plan is for if a sequel gets greenlit, the sequel will showcase the tournament.
Okay, well.
He said that he has a trilogy in mind. He has a trilogy of stories that he's ready to tell if the fans want them.
I think my biggest. So I saw this movie. How did you see this movie, Christian?
HBO Max.
HBO Max. What were you under the influence of alcohol, or did you? What time at night? What did you see this?
It was like I think it was like 4:00 in the afternoon.
Okay, so you saw this 4 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So yeah, I saw this on at 10 o'clock at night. I could put the kids to bed. My wife's asleep. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to watch this movie because I know all you guys are going to watch it and everyone's going to be talking about it on YouTube and Twitter and MySpace. Yes, I'm still on MySpace, by the way. So I watched it again, no alcohol because I was out that night. So I'm like, I'm not going to go out. I'm just going to watch it and see what happens. And I was disappointed in it.
But what level of expectations did you go into it with, though?
I wanted a franchise building character. I wanted something that I can bite on, and it had a lot of these elements that won me to bite into the story. Because Mortal Kombat has the video game has 64 playable characters, and it has a lot of meat, a lot of origin, a lot of story, backstory, forestory, interlocking relationships. And it got off the Mortal Kombat, the 2021 movie got off to a really good start, got me captivated for this ninja movie. I'm like, yeah, okay. It got me going, and it just went downhill from there.
So what about the characters and the story plots did not grab you then?
It was going the Justice League route instead of the Marvel Cinematic Universe route. It was trying to do the big ensemble movie before it set up.
I disagree.
The characters.
I disagree. Half of the characters that were in this movie are lower tier characters. They saved half of the biggest characters for later movies.
They had.
I would strongly disagree with you, Christian.
Yeah,
I'm saying they had half of they had half the characters that were main tier characters, but then other half the characters were relatively much lesser known comparatively.
No way. These are all the big shot names. You got Liu Kang, obviously Scorpion, and Sub-Zero. So like the three you have to have is going to be Raiden.
Yeah, those are the top. Yeah, those are the top.
You had almost the original cast from the original Mortal Kombat. You had Sub-Zero,
it was
Scorpion.
Almost the first game, and I think they had the Shaolin monks. They got both of them. They got Kano, and then his counterpart Cabal. I think pretty much like really the only big name that was missing, which obviously is teased, is Johnny Cage. That was a huge
Johnny Cage, Kitana is another one.
Yeah.
Noob Saibot is another one.
Yeah.
They teased and they had a lot, and they teased a lot of characters in like on Sonya Blade's wall. They teased a lot of those characters in the movie, so you're teasing all that. And you made this completely new character, Cole Young.
Well, okay. So now we're gonna talk about Cole.
So I think
I'm ready for this.
you had 64 characters, and you
wanted all 64 characters.
I
in
don't
one
want
movie?
all no. But you had 64 characters to choose as your main protagonist, and you went with someone completely new. Because
who would you have rather seen?
Go back to Liu Kang. I know Liu Kang was the protagonist in the first movie,
and but then everybody would have compared it. Then everybody would have compared every beat of the story to the original movie. You could
have made Johnny Cage the protagonist.
He's going to be the protagonist in the second one.
We'll see. I mean, they're going to give up. They're going to do a 180 on like they did on Annihilation, kill off Cole Young right away, leave him.
He can be a co-protagonist.
I like the idea of making Cole young. I think what they were trying to do is that if you make Liu Kang, which would have been like the I think the easy choice, making him the star,
would have been the safe choice.
The safe choice. It would have just been 95 all over again. But I think what they really wanted to do, and this is just my complete guess, I had never talked to any of the suits, but I think they're just trying to make someone that everyone can get attached to. This is going to be like the movie franchise character that everyone can start to love. 100%. The downside to it is that the execution, his character himself, was pretty bland. It is toast with no butter on it. It is like tofu with no seasoning. Like that guy was just a real
very one-dimensional,
very cardboard character.
Yeah.
That was the biggest mistake. He could have been an awesome character that like I could have really fell in love with. I love the way that they started him off. It reminded me of the anime Megalobox, just like a guy really down in the dumps, really low in the rankings, but the potential to be a great fighter. That's literally like that underdog story has been told.
Yeah,
since
just
the
getting paid to get his ass whooped.
Those kind of stories have been told, and I was excited to see that because this is during the time I was currently watching Megalobox too. So to see that almost kind of be retold like in live action, I was really excited for it. And the more we got to see his character, man,
his power thing even sucked.
Well, his power was getting his ass kicked.
Yeah. His power was like the Black Panther suit. Like eventually, you get hit enough, and eventually you just burst out some energy. Like, it could have been, and that's the thing. Like that could have been a cool power.
It was just executed poorly.
Yeah, executed poorly. So I agree with you. I don't think they executed that character to the level they could have, but I think they executed all of the other characters really well.
I thought Sonya I would have much preferred following Jackson, Sonya, and Kano getting to the tournament than adding in Cole Young. I think you should have took out Cole Young, and you could have focused on your main bread and butter, and then meet up with Liu Kang and the other monks.
Here's the thing. I think and I kind of agree with Alberto. I think their mindset behind Cole Young was, this is a character that requires absolutely no knowledge of Mortal Kombat to get behind. Every single other character requires a lot of knowledge of Mortal Kombat to get behind, or a lot of exposition. And I don't think they wanted to waste half the movie on exposition for one character, when they could just throw Cole Young in there, who's kind of, like you said, generic everyman. Doesn't make it good, but I think that's their mindset behind it.
I think they could have done it. I think I get that now. I mean, I know they want making the everyman. So now that you say that point, I get that point. But I think to Alberto's point, they could have given him a little bit more.
Yeah, they 100% should have executed it better, but I think it was the smartest choice, honestly, because otherwise, if you make Liu Kang the protagonist, then you're stuck with being compared to the other ones. If you make any of those other characters the protagonist, then that immediately creates here's the thing also with Cole Young. It creates a sense of anybody else is completely just a free game. Like, anybody else can die at any moment.
Right.
But whereas if Sonya Blade's the main character, then okay, she's safe. Mm-hmm. In this type of movie. So by making him the main character, and all these other characters that everybody knows and love are all the supporting cast, at any given moment in time they could be just completely offed because they're not the main character.
If they made it like a Game of Thrones where everyone's up for game because you killed off Kano, but then you had the blow off line later saying death is just another realm that we can escape to, or blah blah.
Which
blah,
I mean
blah.
is canon in the Mortal Kombat
Yeah,
universe.
that's it's true. I mean, but so otherwise, 3.5. Sorry, Alberto.
I was gonna ask you a question, Bobby. Would this? Do you agree or disagree with this? I was thinking about the movie, and as much like you said earlier, 64 characters to pick from. That's a wide roster,
Right.
and they landed on this near dozen.
And that's fine with me. I don't mind them saving the rest for later or focusing on a few small things so I can really sink myself into it. I was fine with that choice.
Part of me, honestly, maybe call me crazy, I almost feel like they had too many characters. And I only really feel that in the last act when all of a sudden the rest of Shang Tsung's army just shows up and you got Cabal come in and he's there for maybe a minute and a half of screen time.
And he's awesome. I thought he was funny.
And give me I will give you $1 million right now because I already forgot her name. But what is the name of that character that gets killed and is only introduced for the purpose of showing Kung Lao's
the flying
awesome
one?
The awesome fatality.
Yeah, she was.
I don't think they named her in the. I don't think they mentioned her name in the movie. I
don't think so either. And I had to look her up. She is a character, and I think Armageddon, was the game that she was introduced in, and the whole PS2 era of Mortal Kombat. I didn't play too much, but I just remember just seeing that character. I was like, this isn't a made up character. But that's what I mean. Everyone became very throwaway towards the.
Well, that's how I felt about the guy with the hammer.
Her name was the one with the wings, right? You're talking about?
Yeah.
Nitara.
Nitara.
I guarantee you they didn't mention that.
They said something about the princess, but he was talking about. Was he talking about Melina?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Well,
what was the guy with the hammer's name?
That's another guy too.
I'm looking right now. Rico.
Yeah.
Rico.
Again, I had no idea who that character was.
And that's the thing, I almost really wish we even stripped down the cast down to only maybe 8 tops, and that's it. It would be Cole, Sonya, Jax, Liu Kang, and Raiden, and then maybe 3 baddies, and that's it. And that would be the whole thing.
That's where I think the original Mortal Kombat was, they had a restrictive budget. And they focused on core characters, so you got to know these characters, and you didn't just show up. Liu Kang shows up in the middle of the movie. I've been looking for you guys forever. Well, you did a sucky job because there's only 3 of them left.
Yeah. And speaking of sucky jobs, you're telling me that this secret ancient temple, this really secluded place, Kano just happened to see it.
Yeah,
weapon traffickers happened to see it. Are you telling me that if Kano had a bad day or he was bored and it was a Tuesday, the Tuesday before, he could have shown up with all his buddies, army buddies, and came up and just shot up the place?
Well, here's what I'm thinking. I'm based on the fact that they couldn't actually find it. I think he had just heard about where it was.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking he was doing weapons trafficking in the area, heard about this magical temple or whatever, and decided to try to bullshit him to get some money out of him. Because otherwise, why did he drop him 100 miles out in the middle of the desert? And
I was thinking about that too. I was like,
so I think he was probably BSing them.
Okay, well, if that's the case, if it's the benefit of the doubt kind of stuff, I shall forgive that. But that was definitely another gripe. Just I almost felt there was too many characters. One character
I should have saved Goro.
Two characters I was really bummed about, the way that they not their fights themselves, but just almost how short-lived they were. One, right off the bat, Reptile. I love Reptile, and I loved his on-screen design. But at the same time, it was so quick. It was just one tiny little fight scene. And to me, I'm thinking, Reptile is a menacing foe. He is super, super menacing.
Wait, Reptile was in the movie?
Yeah, he fought Kano.
Yeah,
he was that monster.
He was the monster that.
Oh, that's right.
That's what I mean.
When they attacked, when he attacked them in the little
in the lab or whatever.
Yeah.
But it happened so quick and everything, and that was a bummer.
64 characters. I mean, you can't fit everyone in. Which ones are you going to make? First tier baddies and henchmen, and which ones are you going to make? Give them more meat. I think everyone, from what I said on Twitter, everyone loved Kano.
Oh yeah,
Kano
he was
was
fantastic.
he stole every scene.
You know,
Oh my
everyone's joking like, "Oh, the cat." You know, Kano's coming back from surgery because holding the hole back, and you know, the whole he, you know, because he held it on the back of the movie or whatever that saying goes. And I thought the interaction between him and Cabal was spot on, and it's like, I want to get more. And I think that's where I'm, again, spoiled by the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You had a slow, again, you're not going to make an individual movie for each person, but
No,
I think this movie would have been better as a Netflix series, as an HBO Max series, where you could have done this type of, you know, do an episode on each character and then have them all show up in an ensemble way. So that's how I felt this movie would have been better instead of a motion picture movie, because I was digging the Scorpion Sub-Zero subplot and I wanted to see more of that, and it was just kind of sidelined at the beginning and sidelined towards the end, and kind of made mention of it because Scorpion and Cole Young were related. Before I keep on going, can I read some of what the other Cavemen's favorite notes were, what they've given me? So Joe says, I don't like how they made Sub-Zero bad, especially the established content of him being an honorable ninja. But in the movie too, in the video game, wasn't he like the original Sub-Zero was killed and then his cousin or nephew took over?
I'm not
in
sure.
the video game series?
Yes, because I know that like the original Sub-Zero, like the one that a lot of people started to play, which was like from MK9, was not like the first Sub-Zero. It was like a family member from the clan or something.
You mean with Sub-Zero?
Yeah.
We got Dan, who can't join us today. He said, the thematic poetry of Cole's weakness, his purpose to get beat up becomes his strength with his special power. Very much a yin-yang concept that was perfect for his Scorpion heritage. And then he also, and then he says, and that yin-yang concept has been a co-part of the ninjas and their conflict. Dan says, and then also reading what from notes that he left us, he loved the conflict of Sub-Zero and Scorpion, made my favorite MK character the one you can cheer for. The canonical story has always made me more sense for him and to be a tragic, more sympathetic character, which I liked. Glad they finally got that right. So Dan and Joe are at odds again. So surprise.
Surprise, right?
Also, the story campaign for the last 3 Mortal Kombat games is still way better than any of the movies, the miniseries, and the animated stuff. So that's what and they both thought, and they both said 3.5 for was their rating for this movie.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I think that's significantly better than what I was expecting going in.
And going back to Dan's point too, I think it's a good perspective to think of that. I was just reading the new Kick-Ass graphic novel.
There's a new one.
Out. Yeah. It's like the subtitle of it is called The New Girl, because this is taking place after Dave has retired, and there is an army soldier. She was like a commander. I'm so sorry, I don't know the rankings, but she was like one of like the higher ranking people, like in her platoon. Came back home and can't get a job, can't feed her kids, struggling to get money, and she decides to go under the helm and pretends to be Kick-Ass, essentially, take the suit and whatnot,
right?
And try to find money her own way. Now she's a much different character, but I was talking about this with my sister, and this is coming full circle. But I was telling my sister, I was like, she's a much different character than Dave was. This character, this new character, her name is Patience Lee, and she is really confident, so sure of herself, well trained, basically what Hit Girl is, but older, and a mother. And Dave, though, like the big thing about Dave, especially like if you've ever seen the Kick-Ass movie, he gets his ass kicked 90% of the movie.
Yeah.
But the whole point of it is because that is like a whole yin and yang thing. Like he has this unbreakable spirit that no matter what, that's really showcased when he's saving like that guy getting beaten up by the grocery store at the beginning of the movie. It's stuff like that. So maybe with those kind of like perspectives, and then looking at Cole, I can appreciate him a little bit more. Just a little bit more though. I still don't. I still don't love him. He ain't no kick-ass, but
I appreciate the character and I understand what they were going for.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think the execution was there. I think the actor did the best he could with what he was given.
Yeah,
I don't hate the performance. I just don't think that the writing for the character was there. I don't think that they gave him a chance to really shine.
I think another thing too, speaking of writing, maybe you guys can see eye to eye with this one though. You guys felt like it was a little inconsistent with the rules it was kind of laying out.
Oh yes.
Yeah, okay, because like especially when it came to so you can only be or you can only gain powers at the temple if you're a chosen one. Fast forward 30 minutes, Sonya is at a trailer, her home, and managed to
they never said that you could only gain the towers at the temple. They said that the energy of the temple helped people gain their powers.
But wasn't it like you can only be trained or you can only find that if you're have the marking or whatever?
Yeah, which she got it right after she killed him.
She killed
Kano and then had her power when she came back. Because she was already there. She was already ready for it.
I was just so confused because like Liu Kang and Kunal were like, no, she can't train with us. But then like
but she can hang out with us.
Yeah, but she can hang out with us and it's totally fine. And I was just kind of like, okay, that's fine.
You put in the work.
But then like a minute right after her fight with Kano, shows up and just immediately does her projectile power. And I'm just like that. Everyone else took a whole mini arc to try to figure out how to do what they got to do.
Because the thing, she'd been getting there the whole time. She was worthy of it. She just didn't have the marking. That was the whole. That was her whole. That was her character arc. Was she needed the marking?
So this is like one of those like Captain America things. It's like she can wiggle the hammer. She just wasn't worthy yet. Okay.
Yeah, she wasn't worthy yet. Exactly.
These perspectives are making me like the movie more Christian.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Like because you see throughout the whole movie that like she was a champion. She just didn't have the marking.
Yeah.
And she was trying to get and she did the homework. She knew more about everything.
Right.
She deserved it. I like Sonya Blade and I like Jax's character. I totally.
And I think the reason why she quote unquote earned it was because she didn't just kill him outright and steal the marking. She beat him when she needed to. Because she could have just killed Kano at any time, gotten the marking from him, and went about her way.
Oh, yeah. And pretty much been a snake like Kano about it.
Right. But she wanted to earn it.
See, this conversation was needed.
So I like that. I do like that they didn't take the easy route out with Jax and just have him with his arms already. Like I like that they showed us
the progression.
Sub-Zero freezing his arms off. Like
yes, yeah.
And then with the weak arms, and then once his mark kicked in, it worked out.
Because it was all about finding your inner like self almost basically,
right?
That's why Kano's came out when he got pissed off, because that's what he was a hothead.
There you go.
I mean? Jax's came out when he was trying to rescue Sonya because he was selfless. Sonya's came out after she earned it, and Cole's came out after he got his ass whipped and his family was in danger.
As soon as his family was in danger, as soon as I saw the wife and the kid, I was like, he's gonna earn it right here in the scene.
Yeah, which I wish they would have saved Goro for the second movie. I wish they would have hinted at him.
Yeah,
saved him for the second one.
For him being such a badass.
Yeah, that could have. Honestly, that should have been Baraka that fought.
Yeah.
Cole.
Honestly, okay. Would you have wanted such a short screen time? I kind of wanted Shiva to have the short screen time and save Goro for the tournament.
Yeah, anybody. Honestly, get anybody other than Goro. Goro is supposed to be the champion. Like he's supposed to be the final boss of the tournament type.
Or maybe if anything, I would have loved it if they didn't beat Reptile in the lab and he came back to rematch Cole right then and there. And that'd be kind of cool too.
Yeah.
Because Reptile, I think, is I'm gonna say it again, one of the coolest characters or one of my favorite characters. I loved even like the Reptile, like the real lizard redesign that they did in the later games. I think he was great. So
yeah, well, like you said, they washed it all away at the end with the death is merely but another avenue
another
or
door or whatever.
Anybody can come back.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about the effects and the choreography for this movie?
I enjoyed it.
I thought it was pretty freaking good though.
Yeah.
When the fights happened and when they were longer than like 30 seconds, they were really cool.
Yeah.
But
I definitely liked the saw blade moment.
Oh, yeah.
For the fatalities were spot on.
I thought every fatality other than that one felt forced.
yes,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
Every fatality other than that one felt forced.
yeah, that
Because
was
you were kind of hinting at that with his hat thing. So I thought that was
Yeah.
and
It was a moment of like, she kept swooping in.
yeah.
And then he kind of reversed it. All the other ones were just like, oh, hey, look, this is their fatality.
Yeah.
Like,
Because and all of the other fatalities, like I said, happened in the final act when they're all fighting. It was just like
right.
just like that. Like everyone's dying
I
so
would have
quick.
I would have much preferred 5 less minutes of them training at the temple and an extra minute for each fight.
Yeah, I would have loved
Like
that too.
those fight, because each fight only lasted what, a minute at most.
Yeah,
Like,
and I
we
love the
hardly got
fights.
to see the fights. The fights is what people wanted.
The fights looked great. They were really, 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 really awesome. And I always wanted more of them. And not that I wanted more fights. I just wanted more meat to them. I didn't want them to finish so quick.
Yeah. The only thing, so like other than the fatalities, I felt like oh, hey, Raiden, you can send people anywhere, right? And then all of a sudden just poof, you're on this planet, you're on this planet, you're on this world, you're on this world. Like it felt very like, oh, hey, haha, here's Mortal Kombat. Like that whole part felt a little forced to me. That was while it was enjoyable, it just felt a little like too on the nose almost.
Yeah.
They could have done this execution a little bit again, and I've already said this. I think the execution of the movie, the storyline could have been handled a little bit more. It could have been. It was missing something.
Yeah.
And I thought again it could have been better as a HBO Max exclusive series. I would have tuned in once a week.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. Give me like a 10 episode mini series about this.
That focus. Yeah.
Did you guys ever watch the live action show? I think it came out like maybe like 10 years ago. It was a web series before.
I don't think so.
Not me. No,
I never watched it. I just remember just like when I was younger and this is when like web series were just starting out and whatnot. And I was younger, so I never kept up with any of that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I vaguely remember it existing, but I don't think I ever watched it.
I only know one person that watched it. Now, one person, he said, I liked it. And that's the whole review that I got ever from it. So, so I'm like, great. You really sold me on that, buddy.
So I think we kind of got the gist of Mortal Kombat in.
Yeah, I do have one question for you guys following up.
Okay, following up.
Would you want a sequel?
To this movie?
Yeah.
Alberto, you go first.
Was the question, do I want one?
Yeah, would you want a sequel? And if a sequel came out, would you watch it?
Hands down, no questions asked. I will watch that in the theater opening night. I would be so excited. This was such a fun movie. At the end of the day, it was just a really fun popcorn flick.
Yeah.
And I really cannot wait to see freaking Johnny Cage in 2021 or 2022, whenever it comes out. But in like modern day special effects, because to see all his special moves now versus 95 special effects, technology has advanced, and I'm just like, people like him is ones I'm really excited to see a lot.
Do you have somebody that you would want to watch, that you'd want to play Johnny Cage?
I know the popular one right now is Ryan Reynolds, that a lot of people are saying.
That's a popular one, but I think it's too mainstream, I think.
Yeah, I can't see him actually doing it. I
agree.
I can't think, but it'd be funny, it'd be cool. But as far as somebody else, it's got to be someone really cocky. It's gonna be someone like that.
Yeah,
another semi-popular one has been Chris Pratt.
I think he would be really good.
I think Chris Pratt, honestly, he would be kind of freaking good at that role.
Yeah,
he really would.
I think he'd be really good at it. Another one that I think is kind of underrated, but I think would be really good, would be Chris Pine.
Oh wow!
I think he would be really good in that role, because I think he has kind of that unexpected cockiness to him.
Yeah,
and so I think he'd be really good for that.
I can see that. I'm down with that too.
What about you, Bobby? Would you want a sequel? And if so, who would you want to see play Johnny Cage in it?
Only if I can get it on HBO Max again. I didn't have to pay any other money for it.
Fair. That's fair.
And you gave me a 6-pack to watch it and maybe some buddies with that I can laugh along with, you know, instead of me sitting alone by myself in a dark room.
That's fair. I respect that.
Yeah, because this movie, I think I would have enjoyed it more with some beer in me and with some buddies, laughing along, swearing, just having a good
time.
I would have preferred that more than, again, I wanted more from this movie. I didn't get it. If it was more, I would have enjoyed it more, but yeah, I probably would have given it like 3 stars. Okay. As for who would play Johnny Cage, to be honest, I haven't given that much thought.
Okay, fair. Sure.
But
Danny DeVito.
But let's go back on to so just video games that turn movies altogether.
It's a bad history.
It's a very bad history, and I actually did a little bit of research here. Do you want to hear some? Do you want to hear some little stats here about how much video games have made and what's the best and the worst?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So worldwide, video game movies have made, drumroll please, $5,329,000,000 worldwide. That's how many video games. And there has been 40 video game movies.
That's Endgame and Avatar combined.
Yeah. So
there's 40 movies.
40 video game movies.
Video game movies. Video game movies. Term with some of these movies.
Yeah. So do you want to know? So the most successful video game movie, which has earned $439 million. Warcraft.
I'm gonna take a guess. Warcraft.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What in the
hell? Second by Detective Pikachu. Third by, and this is just money-wise, Rampage.
Mm-hmm. Also makes sense.
Prince of Persia, Sands of Time, starring Jake Gyllenhaal. You guys don't even remember. You guys don't even know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm looking at a list of video game movies as well right now. So
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Mm-hmm.
Resident Evil, the final chapter, Resident Evil, and then Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, the original one. With
interesting, because I'm just wondering if that list that you're looking at doesn't counting it, because I feel like I would be surprised by that. Is neither of the Angry Birds movies up there? Because I feel like those made a lot of money.
I don't think it. I
wonder if those aren't counting that as video game movies.
Again, no, you know what? This is more live action. It's not live action. Animation, live action.
Oh yeah, I guess Detective Pikachu was live action technically.
Pikachu was Detective Pikachu was live action. So this is live action movies, not animated movies. For that thing, and then for most successful on Rotten Tomatoes, and again, all this information's from Wikipedia.com. You have the top rated one is Detective Pikachu, followed by Sonic the Hedgehog, and the new Mortal Kombat movie, and the newest Tomb Raider and Rampage.
I have not seen the new Tomb Raider. I still haven't seen the new Tomb Raider.
Okay, new Tomb Raider is actually really good.
That one looks fun. I see that movie.
Yeah, it is actually a really good movie.
I gotta watch it then.
I
love the Tomb Raider series.
Have you played the new Tomb Raider games?
I love the new Tomb Raider games.
Yes, it is very true to the new Tomb Raider games.
This new trilogy, I haven't beaten Shadow of the Tomb Raider. It's the last one of the trilogy, but yeah, so far Rise of the Tomb Raider.
You know how like the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider was very true to the older Tomb Raider films, that kind of campy style. This is very true to the new ones. It's more gritty, a little more grounded, realistic, like
both have their places.
Both have, again, like just like the old Mortal Kombat and the new Mortal Kombat, both have their places for the era they were created in.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it. So I definitely, if you guys are a fan of Tomb Raider, I definitely recommend watching
it. Say less, man. Say less. That has been on my list
Do you
It was
guys?
it was one of those ones where I was extremely pleasantly surprised.
Do you guys have any top video game movies that come straight to your head that say, "Oh, I love this movie because X, Y, and Z"?
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog is definitely up there. And if we're just talking about movies that I enjoyed,
liked, whatever. I mean, whatever you like that you thought like, yeah, these are like some of my favorite video game movies.
I actually enjoyed the Prince of Persia movie.
Okay.
It was by no means a good video game movie, but it's just a dumb popcorn flick. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
The animated Ratchet and Clank movie.
Okay.
Was good. That's kind of a cop out because it's basically just a long video game cutscene.
Mm-hmm.
But and then the like old animated Pokemon movies come to mind.
Okay, I always enjoyed those. I enjoyed those ones.
I'm looking through a list right now as well, trying to think. Go ahead.
Anything that you enjoyed, that you liked, that you thought was well done, or just like, yeah, this is just things I enjoyed watching.
The immediate one for non-nostalgia, like Christian says, Sonic the Hedgehog. A big reason is because I don't know how many times I've watched Parks and Rec, and I love Parks and Rec. And one of my favorite characters is Jean-Ralphio, and he's played by Ben Schwartz. And he is the voice lead for Sonic. So when I heard that he's attached to it, I was like, oh, I'm excited. Then Jim Carrey was attached to be Eggman.
Oh, so good.
And then I was like a little hesitant just because Jim Carrey has been like
up and
just
down.
this ghost in the last several years. And I was thinking, let's see how this goes. I really love Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey is one of my favorite comedic actors of all time. And he was having a blast playing Eggman. Like you can tell he was just, it was almost like prime.
It was in his
Jim
element.
Carrey stuff. Yeah, he was fantastic. So I absolutely loved it, both for the voice acting from Ben. He did a great job with it. And I really, really, really loved Jim Carrey. And then the second movie probably would be, this is nostalgia glasses on. It would be Pokemon the movie, the first one.
Yeah.
I rewatched the second one.
I love that soundtrack, by the way. I love the Pokemon soundtrack.
Yeah, some of them did not age well at all.
Yes,
but
the first one in particular, I just rewatched it, I think last summer, I think, with Ari. And the same scene, since I was a kid, still makes me choke up. I don't care. I could be growing half a mustache right now, and I will still choke up watching that scene where Ash is running straight to Mewtwo, knowing he's going to lose that fight. His punch gets blocked, turned into a stone, and Pikachu starts to cry. The real part that kills me every time, Bobby, you have no idea. It's when the two Pikachus are fighting each other, and the clone keeps slapping Ash's Pikachu, trying to force it to fight.
Is this the first movie? I thought this one was with Mew and Mewtwo. I thought that was the first movie.
Yeah. This all happened. Yeah, this all happened.
I haven't seen that one in a long time.
because Mew brings all of the clones of Ash's Pokemon to fight him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just remember just seeing that particular part where clone Pikachu is just slapping Ash's Pikachu, just forcing it, like, fight me, please. And the Ash's Pikachu is crying and refuses to even put up like its guard. And I was like, that's it. That's when a man becomes a kid again. Right there. That moment. That is a tough scene.
I am 100% in absolute and total agreement with you.
I love that movie.
But I have not watched that movie recently, and now I need to go watch it again.
Hell yeah.
I have a question for you.
I have my nostalgia glasses on, and by no way this is a good movie. But Super Mario Brothers.
How did I know? I knew it. If it wasn't, if Dan was here, I guarantee you that would be his answer too. I just know it. I'm 100% positive.
Oh man, you guys.
Did Dan put his in the thing, Bobby?
Warcraft isn't bad. He enjoyed it. And
did Dan put his favorite movie in the?
Oh, in our show notes,
in the Google Doc. Yeah.
Let me check here. I got a couple screens going on here. Dan said favorite movie. So Dan was Detective Pikachu.
Okay.
Joe said Wolverine on the 360, but that game was brutal. Wolverine from the original, the Wolverine Origins game.
Oh.
Or there was a couple Wolverine video direct, tie-in video games.
I think Joe got confused.
Yeah, I was like rereading the
No,
list, and I was
the
like,
Wolverine was that was a live action game.
yes,
but
but if you read
Wolverine
his-
is a comic book movie, not a video game movie.
if
Okay.
you read his next note under least favorite game movie, he says Superman 64.
Yeah, I
and I'm
think
like,
he's
okay,
thinking of games based off of movies, not the other way around.
yeah.
Okay, that's
I
fair.
think he's thinking of movie video games, like
The adaptations,
Yes.
the tie-ins. Yes. Okay. So we'll have to follow up with him on another time, or maybe if he's listening, he'll join in and let us know.
Yeah.
But more Super Mario Brothers. When I was a kid, I loved it. I loved the idea, and I was so disappointed. I was ready for the sequel. I'm like, they set it up for the sequel. They're going to be making this so fast. And I was every year after year as I grew older, then I'm like, they're not making this movie. Wait, Bob Hoskins died? What? They're not making Super Mario Brothers ever again. And then I listened to all the behind the scenes stuff and how Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo had a horrible time making the movie. And I'm like, oh, well, they're definitely not. And it did not make any money in the box office. So that nostalgic movie, that's what's in mind. I don't have one that particularly says like, oh, you got to see this movie. Street Fighter with Jean-Claude Van Damme, again, horrible movie, super campy, but
I feel like pretty much
Bison.
any video game movie created before the year 2000 was never going to take itself seriously.
Yeah.
So what do you think makes a good video game movie? What has to happen in these things to make it like, oh no, that's a good adaptation? What made Sonic the Hedgehog a good movie? Because when the first trailer hit, it got some backlash.
Well, that's because the character design looked like a Blender 8 Sonic.
Yeah, it was a nightmare.
It looked like you asked a 3-year-old to draw Sonic, but he didn't know what Sonic looked like. You just told him what Sonic looked like, and so that's what he made.
They were trying to go for a more realistic approach. I mean, and do you think that was, and that just kind of going on to, there's theories out there saying they made that version for the trailer, and they always had the version that we saw made, because that's a lot of money to go back into a movie and reanimate.
No, I guarantee you that they were planning on releasing the movie with that character, because they delayed the movie like 4 months.
I also
but 4
believe
months
that.
to reanimate that entire
easily
everything.
Because it was 4 months later. The movie was done, and so they gave themselves like an extra like 8 months.
I believe that because I remember when the first cardboard cutout stand showed up at the AMC theater. I went to go see some movie. I don't remember what it was. And I was walking back to the car, and there's a huge cutout. And it was the shadow of Sonic the Hedgehog with like the logo, but it was the original design with the long, skinny arms and like the really super spiky, busy hair and the longer legs. And he was like kneeling down, and it was just a silhouette. So ever since then, like if that theory is true, that means ever since their very first cutouts, they've been planning this great scheme since then. I'm like, no, there's no way. They were nervous to show it then. That's why they did a silhouette.
Yeah.
That's why they waited so long to show it. And once they showed the design, they're like, okay, yeah, there's a reason that we've been only showing silhouettes for so long, because we were really nervous about it. I think they even knew that it was going to be a mess.
You think they had a backup?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, do we have a guest going on?
She got a little photo bomb on us.
Lexi, do you have a favorite video game?
No, she does not. No, she does not. Have a favorite video game movie? She said, "Ew."
Just like freaking nerds.
Yeah.
So what do you think makes a good video game adaptation? What gives it that certain thing that says, "Ooh, this is what I've been looking for," and it was true to what I played?
Staying true to the characters without being a direct ripoff of a movie, like of a game.
I think for me, you guys have kind of already answered it. Maybe even Tomb Raider, like Christian was saying, the original one and then the newer one, they're like a piece of its time. They're a piece of it, like its own like little era of like what the games were like during that time. I think that's what like helps make a movie good. Understanding what era the series is in currently,
Yeah.
and trying to do that. Maybe the exception for this, I'd say, is Sonic the Hedgehog, because Sonic has had a rough last few years trying to figure out exactly what it wanted to do. But I think that like with Sonic Mania that recently came out, it was trying to get back to its roots. So I think the movie was maybe being a reminiscence back to the animated series. I don't know if you guys ever watched Sonic the Hedgehog, the animated series, but it was really campy.
Which version?
Not a ton.
Because there was an ABC version, and then there was like a Fox version.
What? I didn't know that. Whatever version is a more popular one, I suppose. Because I've only watched two. I've watched the original, which I don't even know if it's considered original anymore. Then that one and Sonic Underground and Sonic X, and I love Sonic X.
There was a couple versions. So there was two versions. There was like a Sonic and well, we can go to this in another time. That can diverge into Sonic franchises.
But
I think
sorry,
Alberto, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, but I think there's understanding like the era, like imagine Mortal Kombat 2021 as campy as Mortal Kombat 1995, despite the fact that ever since Mortal Kombat 9, the video games have been very serious, still a little cheesy sometimes in its dialogue, but it's been taking itself a lot more serious. And the games, the storyline, honestly, Dan's right. The last three games, 9, 10, and 11, have amazing stories. They're great stories. And 9 is basically a reboot of the original, just more like a grounded retelling of it.
No, I think that was the missed opportunity. What came to miss Mortal Kombat. I hope it, give it another chance so it can grow. But you have all this rich storytelling, and you could have got me excited for, you started hinting at all this other stuff, and you didn't get me excited because, again, the execution of it. And I think, like you said, giving it to the heart and knowing the time and the place when it's coming out to make it a good movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think a great example of movies that are bad video game adaptations, but are good movies are the Resident Evil movies. They are absolutely in no way, shape, or form Resident Evil movies.
Yeah.
Other than the vaguest characters and some plot lines.
Mm-hmm.
But they are pretty serviceable popcorn action flicks.
Mm-hmm.
They got worse as time progressed, but the first couple were pretty good.
Yeah.
And
I can't
so
say the same for Silent Hill. Silent Hill.
No, yeah. So I have a question for you. Did either of you guys watch the Assassin's Creed movie with Michael Fassbender?
No.
That's when I was going to ask you, since you saw Prince of Persia, did you watch it and did you enjoy it?
So I thought if that movie had been titled literally anything other than an Assassin's Creed movie, it would have been a really good movie.
Mm-hmm.
If that would have just been its own concept of a film, would have been a really good movie.
Yeah.
But the fact that they tied it to the Assassin's Creed universe and then proceeded to do almost nothing that tied it into Assassin's Creed other than the concept of going into the Animus and reliving a character like your ancestor. Very little actual Assassin's lore in it. Very little Assassins versus Templar. And the actual Animus machine was just basically like a motion capture machine. It was just this weird hodgepodge. So I thought the movie had a lot of potential, had a really good cast, but ultimately was a decent film, bad video game movie.
Okay.
It would be something that I would say if it's on one day, or if you can find it on Netflix or something like that, and you have a couple hours to kill, it's worth at least watching because it's a decent film. But don't go into it expecting anything remotely close to an Assassin's Creed story.
Now, do you think that even if they follow every single beat of the video game storyline, would that even still make it a,
Well, that's the thing. I don't even necessarily think they needed to follow every beat. just use some of the established characters.
Sure.
If they had used any of the established characters, even if they didn't want to go all the way back to Altair, give us Ezio, give us anybody, any established assassin.
Mhm.
And even if you don't want to give us, I'm drawing a blank on his name, but the modern day character,
Mhm.
even if you want to give us a different modern day character, but still give us the assassin that we know. Give us something that ties it to the assassin's world that we know and love. And I think it would have been infinitely better.
And Christian, I think we've gotten to this point in the past in our Falcon and the Winter Soldier, in our past Marvel conversations. I think you hit it on the ball. You have to get the heart and the essence of it. And you don't need to hit every single beat.
100%.
And you can take artistic, creative choices in terms of storytelling.
Yeah.
And keeping people engaged. But if you stray too far from the material and you're just taking it for the name for name's sake, you could possibly just.
Well, I mean, okay, like look at the Sonic movie. An actual beat for beat Sonic the Hedgehog movie would suck.
No, that's what the cartoons are for.
Right. Nobody wants to watch Sonic sprinting through a race and collecting coins for an hour and a half. Like, but they kept who Sonic was. They kept him true to the character. They gave you all of the story beats. You know, they gave you the rings. It was just a different purpose. They gave you Eggman. They gave you Sonic. They gave you. They're giving us Tails and Knuckles in the sequel. They gave us all of the story beats of Sonic the Hedgehog while putting a story around it that made sense for a film. And that's the problem that so many video game movies run into, is they do too far in one or either direction. Either they go just shot for shot of a video game and try to cram everything from a video game down our throat, or they give us almost nothing that represents the video game other than the name of the movie. Mm-hmm. Like you got a movie like Doom that literally even went into first person mode at one point in the film. Like, and then you have a movie like Super Mario Brothers.
Very loose adaptations.
Yes.
They tried. They really tried to make, and here's the thing, they tried to make it up to date and edgy, and tried to, like, how would these plumbers get into this mushroom kingdom and why put them in, put them in? So they tried. Yeah. So was it too early for its time and just everything else going against it?
I don't know. Part of me want to say, yeah. I think what they did try to do was fine. I don't hate it. I don't think it's a terrible movie.
No.
It's a really goofy movie. But yeah, I think maybe if they had just given it like a little more time in the oven, probably would have turned out a little bit better. So I got a question for you guys real quick too.
Yeah.
Is there a video game adaptation, or is there a movie that you wish, adapted one of your favorite games that's currently not made right now?
So any video game we want to see made into a movie?
Yes. Because I got two right on top of my head, but technically one of them's already been made.
Two of the ones that I would say are currently being converted. One is being made into a movie and one is being made into a TV series.
I already know what you're thinking about.
And that would be Uncharted and The Last of Us.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Both of those are already being made. So as far as something that's not being made, I would honestly love a Jack and Daxter film.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's now animated or the live action.
Give me hybrid. Give me Detective Pikachu. Make Jack a person in full, makeup and prosthetics and all that stuff, and then make Daxter CGI.
I think that would work out really well.
That would work out fantastic.
Even just no, Daniel.
I think that would be fantastic. Otherwise, other than that, maybe I don't know. What do you think?
Me,
you got one, Alberto?
Yeah, dude. I have been holding all my toes and fingers crossed that one day some studio head is like, I think this would be a great movie. We need to do this so faithfully and awesome. Alberto will love this movie to death. 7 Oscar wins. Here we come. Bioshock. I would love Bioshock as a movie. Oh my god! Like,
let me ask you a
being able
question.
to see the underground.
Do you go Bioshock 1 or do you go Bioshock Infinite?
If I had to pick, I probably would pick. I'm super biased. Lover of anything from early 20th century and huge lover of jazz and stuff. So I would probably want to see Bioshock 1 first. The one thing is that part of me would actually not even want to be Bioshock 1 the game, just the early days of Rapture, of prequels, so to say. Like what led?
Oh yeah,
like
God
like
of War
what?
is a great one.
Yeah, that'd be a good one too.
Oh yeah.
Wait, I think that's Gears of War that he's talking about.
Oh yeah. Maybe.
It's
But
Dan. That's
but
why.
still, yeah, true. But okay, but well, Dan, thank you for jogging my memory. God of War would be a great one.
God of War would be a really cool one too. But yeah, but I would absolutely love Bioshock, specifically a prequel, because there's enough stuff that you can collect in the game.
Honestly, you know what even would be better? Give us an HBO TV series.
Yeah.
Titled Rapture.
Yeah. I would love to
and
just see. Oh. You're speaking my language right now, man. This has been something I've been wishing for the longest time.
Give us one season of pre Rapture. Season finale is the fall of it, and then season 2 opens with what we know and love as Bioshock. Yeah,
I would love that. Or even if like the sequel is only a movie and it just kind of just goes through it. But I personally would love it because the tough part is that Bioshock, 1 and 2. I don't remember. Infinite had it. I don't think so. No, they did, I think. But they have like this really small morale system where if you either want to harvest a little sister or if you want to save them.
I don't think Infinite had the morality system. I don't think Infinite had that.
So Bioshock 1 and 2 had it, and I think some people, if they watch the movie, might get upset that their choice was made for them because the movie would have to go one direction.
It would have to, yeah.
So I think a prequel without having to save all of the little sisters and stuff. But Dan did bring up Gears of War, which is maybe something that's not too far-fetched. I mean, Dave Bautista did pitch that idea.
Yeah, he's been pushing for it.
And that's it's making headlines.
What did he turn down? I saw an article the other day that he turned something down. Was it Suicide Squad? Down
Suicide Squad, so then he can work on Army of the Dead, and then he turned down Fast and Furious because
he turned down Fast and Furious because they wanted to give him, was it John Cena's role? I believe, correct?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they wanted to give him John Cena's role, and he turned that down to try to pitch a Gears of War movie.
Yeah, which good for him for wanting to. Stick to more creative projects. I mean, quote unquote creative projects.
Yeah.
But I mean, who knows if that ever comes out? I think he'd be a great choice. That is someone that I've really been wanting to see in more action movies.
By the way, have either of you seen Army of the Dead yet?
No, we were gonna watch it today.
I hate zombie movies.
I haven't seen it either.
You hate zombie movies?
I am a scared little so and so. No, I do not like zombie movies.
Do you have a video game movie that you'd want to see made, Bobby?
Give me a big budget Amazon Prime budget Lord of the Rings type movie for Legend of Zelda.
That's what I was waiting
linking
for.
all of the video games together in mini series so you can see it like the beginning of Ganon and all.
Would you want a movie or would you want a TV series?
I want an episodic
Game of Thrones
series, episodic Game of Thrones. Big budget, because right now Amazon Prime is throwing obscene amount of money into a Lord of the Rings prequel, and I would love.
And then season 7 of The Legend of Zelda can just be the Twilight Princess, and then it'll be perfectly like Game of Thrones.
Yeah, you could just. Yeah,
it'll just be the worst.
I would love to see something like that. So, if anyone was going to ask me, so.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a really good one. Out of curiosity, I would like to know your guys'. I know Bobby, you haven't. Alberto, have you played Uncharted or Last of Us?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I've played both of Last of Us. I have not played all the Uncharted. There's like 6 games I think in total, and
there was 4 original main series games. There was a PS Vita game. And then there was
Lost
the Lost Legacy, which is a DLC slash like spin-off of Uncharted 4.
So I've only played two through 4, and I did not beat 3, but I've beaten 2 and 4, and
Okay.
absolutely loved them.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the live action Uncharted movie and the live action Last of Us TV series that are coming out?
See, and that's the thing, like kind of like going back to like original conversation as to like what, how faithful do you need to be to the original content in order for it to be considered good? Tom Holland, I haven't seen the movie, obviously. I love Tom Holland as Spider-Man, but is he going to be a good Nathan Drake? That's the big thing that I want to know.
I think he'll certainly be a good young Nathan Drake.
That's the thing. Everyone always wants to emphasize like it's going to be a young one to make sure it's like everyone's like, don't walk in thinking this is the Nathan Drake
Don't think you're getting Nolan North Nathan Drake.
Yes, this is going to be the like the young man that he was beforehand.
So
and I have to always remind myself of that.
I have a fun story about Tom Holland. So Mark Webb was being interviewed, and they're making Spider-Man Far From.
I know what story you're gonna say. The No Way Home.
They're filming No Way Home, and they're filming Tom Holland, and some producer on the set. Why is he walking like a man? It's like, oh, he just got off that one franchise. Let's break him down. We'll get him back to Peter Parker style in a couple days.
Oh, really?
He came in and he was strutting around because he had the Nathan Drake cockiness. So he was strutting around on set, filming all his scenes, and they're like, bro, like, no. Like you need to bring it back down, slouch the shoulders a little bit, like go back into Peter Parker mode, because he was just walking around like hot shit because he was just playing Nathan Drake.
Oh, that's funny.
And he was actually, when he started filming No Way Home, he was still finishing shooting Uncharted. And so he has the longer hair. And he's gonna have the longer hair in No Way Home because they were trying to get him to cut it. And he's like, no, I'm still finishing up Uncharted. So he's like, we can either wait shooting for another month and then I'll cut it after, or we can just start shooting in my head and he'll have longer hair for the movie.
Oh, wow. So does he have longer hair for the movie then?
Yeah, he's gonna have longer hair for the movie because they were like, well, we don't want to wait shooting for another month or two or whatever. So he's gonna have a little bit longer hair. As long as it's not like a mustache gate and they're gonna
CGI his hair to be short.
No, but yeah, that's the thing. I am cautiously optimistic. Obviously, the Uncharted movie's been in development hell for close to a decade now.
Oh yeah. Ever since the game came out,
it's been literally circling the drain for coming on. What I mean, the original game came out in 2008, and they've been rumored movies for pretty much ever since. So literally 13 plus years we've been in development hell for this movie. I'm super excited for it. The only thing that I am so terrified for.
Don't you dare say anything about Marky Mark.
Bro,
say that you're worried about him.
Mark Wahlberg 10 years ago could have played Nathan Drake.
I know.
He's not old enough, nor is he wise enough, nor is he is not Sully.
But Marky Mark though.
That's great. It can be Mark Wahlberg. He's not Sully.
I know.
Did you ever watch the TV show Burn Notice on USA?
Oh, I love that.
That entire cast could back then have just been the live action Uncharted movie.
Yeah,
Bruce Campbell.
Give me Bruce Campbell as Sully every day of the week.
That's actually really true. I didn't even think about that.
That entire cast could have been live action Uncharted.
I don't know. We'll really have to see. I've never seen him in a role like that. Mark Wahlberg normally does either really good as action or comedic action.
Mark Wahlberg is normally the Nathan Drake in films.
Yes, exactly. So I'm interested to see where he goes. I mean, he did do a little more comedic side, stuff with Ted and the other guys.
He's got the mustache at least. He's got the mustache at least. So
that's all I'll ask for.
I'll take it.
If he has the mustache and some Hawaiian shirt to go along with it, some floral design thing, and he has to have a cigar, and then it's all.
I mean, honestly, who could have done a pretty good job too. Forgive me because I'm struggling to think of the actor's name, but this guy right here in the little small picture on our screen. Yeah.
Why can I not think of the name too right now?
I can't think of the actor's name.
I am blanking. Nick Offerman.
Yes. I think he could have been a great Sully as well.
Yeah, especially now that he has all like the gray
Yeah.
hair and everything too.
Oh yeah.
Would have been fantastic.
What
So-
about the Last of Us series?
I'm cautious for it as well, only
Yeah.
because I think the first game is really hard to follow up, which has been shown with the second game. Super mixed, the opinions, which we have talked extensively, and people still have mixed opinions down to this day. It's been months since it came out.
Coming up close to a year almost.
Yeah, so this show is gonna have a lot to live up to, and I think people are going to go into it already salty, considering how the second one did and what it did with its story. Yeah. People are wondering, okay, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna mess up the characters? Are you gonna do this? Are you gonna do that? People are really attached to these characters in particular. I haven't seen a video game series where people are that attached to characters since maybe Gears of War, fans of those series, they love those characters a lot, and they will defend those characters to death.
Yeah,
but I haven't seen someone get a pitchfork and a torch ready to defend if they change the Assassin's Creed movies too much. That community is normally a little bit more quiet. They're normally just pretty content. That's 100%. At least my guess. But
yeah, I think, and I hope I'm wrong. Because I think the series will be good. I really do. I have faith. That it will be good. I think, unfortunately, what's going to happen to it is the same thing that happened to the Solo movie. I think the fans are going to burn it to the ground before it's even released. Because I don't know where you stand on it, Alberto. I forget. I think the Solo movie is vastly better than people give it credit for.
Yeah, you and Joe were really big fans of it, right?
And so I think that a lot of the thing that happened to that was the same thing that you were just mentioning about this. The attachment to that character and the passion for that and the portrayal of that character, a little bit different, obviously, because that was another actor in a movie series, whereas this is a video game. But it's still that same concept of the attachment to a character now being portrayed in a different manner. And so I'm very, very concerned that the fans are just going to pitchfork it to death before it even gets a chance to shine.
Yeah.
So,
especially because everybody's like, man, they don't look like the characters. Yeah. They don't look like I imagined they would look. Like,
people are ready to.
They gender swap this person.
Just give it a chance. Give it a chance.
So before can I switch topics?
Yeah, of course.
So Dan mentioned, what about making a live action Metroid movie? I think that'd be really cool as a sci-fi horror.
Yeah.
Flick.
Metroid is another one of those ones I think would be a good series. I don't think it would play well in a singular movie.
I think if you did it as a horror flick, kind of like that Lawrence Fishburne movie that was in outer space.
Kind of like almost like Alien-esque.
Yes.
That's okay. See,
yes,
and that's the thing. I think a movie would be more challenging to pull off specifically because of that. Because I think there's going to be so much comparison to Alien. That's just what I think it's going to end up happening.
Yeah,
and I think a show would allow it to kind of just venture into the other games a lot more and take its time. Because the ships are always labyrinths. They're huge mazes. Let 1 hour episode be exploring the West Wing or something, and then the East Wing, and having to backtrack and later on. And I think
because each episode they could be getting a different power up.
And then something
they can
that.
Backtrack and unlock different areas. I think that's a great question that Dan just posted.
So Dan's posting, do you think there will ever be a video game movie that is good as the game or like books, and will it be destined to always be worse? Why or why not? And I think this is a great thing to kind of wrap everything up.
Do either of you want to go first?
You guys go. You guys are more the video game experts than me. So
Alberto, would you like to go? Otherwise I can.
I can go, and maybe just to rebuttal.
Okay.
Or just repeat what I said earlier. I want to say, Dan, that there would be a movie that one day came out that is just as good as the source material. But I think no matter what, the attachment that we have with them as we spend time with them, holding them with our controller, it's always going to make us be just a little bit picky, nitpicky. We're always going to be a little harsh on it, harsher than we need to be probably. So I think us, the video gamers, are going to be always the ones that are going to hold back the actual title of this is better than the game or just as good as the game. We
Same
are
thing
pretty
with
harsh critics. Yeah, same thing with books. I mean, Watchmen, for example, and we've talked about it before. Zack Snyder's Watchmen, incredibly faithful to the graphic novel, super faithful. And even though that it followed a lot of the same beats and it has Zack Snyder's like blood inside his, the art
And all
direction,
the
the
actors are
cinematography.
fantastic.
Yeah, the acting is great and everything. Even with that, you still have mixed feelings, or like the general audience.
The general audience, that movie was not made for general audiences.
Yeah.
Or you
that was made for
films,
fans, you know.
or you get films that are fantastic adaptations of the book, but still nowhere near as good because of the sheer amount of material that they leave out, like the Harry Potter films.
Yeah, or Lord of the Rings too.
Yeah, or Lord of the Rings. Fantastic adaptations of the books and fantastic movies, but still so much lower than the books because of just the sheer quantity of information and scenes and characters that are left out.
And there's things you can do, and there's things you can do more in books and in video games than you can in a movie, because you do have to condense it and make it into a feasible storyline for people to read. I just finished season 1 of Incredible on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I still haven't watched that yet.
Oh, Invincible?
Yeah, Invincible. Have you watched it yet, Alberto?
Loved it. Yes.
So, and I was reading a lot of the backstory from all the comic books. So I wanted to see, because first I'm like, no, it's going to be another comic book. Maybe I'll get into it another time, whatever.
Yeah. Everything I've heard, it looks really good. I haven't watched it yet.
It's a very adult. This is a not for kids. It's like on the same vein of as the boys.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
It's different take. Doesn't go the boys. But it's the same violence.
Yeah,
all that jazz. There's just not a lot of sex in it.
Yeah, I guess.
So, and there is a lot of minutia, detailed, heavy-loaded backstory into all the characters. And I felt they did a really good job condensing it into 8 episodes.
Yeah.
8 1-hour episodes, because that could have been really bad, really fast. Yeah. And I think it all depends on the execution and how you, again, is it better in a movie or a long series format? And can you find get it out at the right time when people are really deserving?
I can't think of a single video game or book that would not be better off as a series. I can't think of a single one.
You can't.
Every single video or book that's been turned into a movie would be infinitely better off as a series. It just would. It gives you so much more time, gives you so much more room to work with. I'm not even saying like 7 or 6 seasons of a series, maybe even like 10 episodes, 12 episodes, 2 seasons, but more than the 2 hours it was given, or in some cases, an hour and 40 minutes.
I think kind
of like WandaVision.
Yeah.
Yeah, WandaVision did a great job.
Yeah, I mean, even then, it was 6 30-minute episodes or whatever it was.
Yeah,
it was still more than if we had gotten a 2-hour movie.
Right.
I think
it gave us time to
some stories. Maybe some stories could like work. I'm particularly thinking about like indie games, where they are more simpler stories, but like one big one, or bigger one, I could possibly think of. Lollipop Chainsaw could be like just a super fun like Zombieland kind of like movie, like a flick, like a 2-hour flick like that.
Yeah.
Or I want to say Far Cry, but I also would love to see Far Cry fleshed out in a series. That would be really, really cool to see too, especially with the new direction that they're doing now. But a Far Cry series, maybe you can get away with like it like being like a movie too. But I mean, like we're talking about like that kind of stuff, and look. The next really big one, at least I think, is Borderlands is going to come out.
It is. That movie is setting itself up for so much failure.
That is a heavy game. That is a long game with a lot of
the Borderlands movie.
Okay,
they are setting them up for failure in 4 different ways. One, they're getting too many big names. They're
as
getting
actors.
They're getting too many big name actors that it's going to feel like an overcrowded fest. 2, they are getting bad actors for the roles. 3,
Well, you just said they're getting high quality. You just said they're getting
big name actors, but they're not getting actors that fit the roles.
Okay.
Like Roland, who's this big, muscled up soldier, is going to be played by Kevin Hart.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I know that's the one that the fans have been pretty vocally upset about the most.
Yeah, and they are. I mean, to be completely fair, Borderlands just shouldn't be being turned into a movie. At the end of the day, it's not a story that translates to film very easily.
Yeah.
It just really isn't.
Yeah, Borderlands is like a really fun wasteland, like adventure park. That's how it always felt like to me. It was like a really fun adventure.
Yeah,
I don't know how they're gonna do it like in the game or like in the movie form.
I don't see any way of them turning it into a film that works while it being anything other than just having the Borderlands name on it. Like that's the thing. Like it doesn't make any sense to me. And jumping on to kind of what Dan had just said, I completely agree with you, Alberto, as well. I don't think, as much as I want to be hopeful and say, yeah, totally, like there's going to be a video game movie that comes out that's going to blow us all away and is going to be just as good, if not better, than the source material. I don't see that happening without it being some random, obscure video game.
Yeah.
Without it being some indie video game that was pretty good, and then they turn it into a movie and it blows up out of proportions. Like without that happening, I don't think there's ever going to be one, because it's the same thing with books. Is people get attached to the characters, they get attached to the story, they come up with their own thoughts and ideas of what should happen.
Yeah.
It's the same reason why the later seasons of Game of Thrones didn't do well, because people were trying to match them up to their expectations of what was coming. They're trying to match them up to their expectations of what they thought should happen, what they thought was going to be this, and this, and it will never live up to expectations and hype. It just won't, because 5 million fans are going to have way better of an imagination and are going to come up with a way better possible story than 6 suits in an office. Always, without fail.
And Dan made up a good point. He said, personally thinks that the difference in the medium of video games makes it impossible. Being interactive means we're more invested in spending more time with these games, and then a movie can never compete with that experience.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And that's the thing too. It's the amount of time you spent. It does. Some people can, but most people can't read a book in 2.5 hours. Like a full fiction novel, you can't read in 2.5 hours for the most part. Some people can.
So like going back to like what you said, I think if I had to pick a movie or series, I probably would always want a series. As much as I love video games and as much as I will always love for them to be made into movies, I mean, good or bad, I'm going to end up watching it. I'm going to end up buying a ticket. I'm going to end up pressing play. It doesn't matter. Like as soon as like if they ever say like, hey, we're going to make a movie based off of the video game Skate, which is just like, I'm like, oh my, done. That's it. Like I'm going to go buy an IMAX ticket.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. If they're like, oh, hey, we're going to make Resistance Fall of Man the movie.
Yeah,
all right, it's probably gonna suck. I'm gonna go watch it though.
Exactly.
Like they could say, hey, we're gonna make a Yoshi's Island movie. All right, cool, I'm in. Like, cool, let's do it. Like it doesn't matter, and that's the problem. Is they're never like, even the bad video game movies still make a decent amount of money. Not enough to warrant a sequel for the most part, but they make a decent amount of money. They make enough.
It's a cash grab.
They make enough money that the studio can say, screw it, we'll half-ass the movie, still come out with $100 million and call it a day.
It is a cash grab, and we are the problem, Christian.
Yeah, we are. 100%.
We are the problem.
100% the problem. We are. Bobby's the solution. That wasn't good, I'll only watch the second one if it's free. We're like, yeah, screw it. That was pretty above average. I'll watch the second one.
Like,
shut up and take my money.
Yeah. But that's the thing.
Me and Chris are like, we're like half a star. Yeah, I'll watch it again. Why not?
Yeah. We will. There's nothing you can do, because no matter how many times video game movies kick me in the balls, I'm going to keep coming back hoping the next one's better.
That made me think of Doctor Strangelove for some reason, and like the title, it's like Doctor Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Feeling Bad About Being Kicked in the Balls from Movie Studios and Learn How to Love Video Game Movie Adaptations.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, I think as far as our notes go, unless there's anything else I'm forgetting, is there anything else we want to add on about video game movies or Mortal Kombat, guys?
Not that I can think of. I enjoyed the conversation.
I'd be curious to know what your least favorite video game movie was.
Ooh. My cop-out answer is Annihilation. That is my cop-out answer.
What about your least favorite one-off, not a sequel?
Ooh. Honestly, I did not like Rampage. I thought Rampage.
I didn't see it. You weren't a fan?
I thought it was just so boring. I really couldn't get behind it, and I wanted to. I love Rampage. Was one of the first arcade machines I ever played ever.
Yeah, but that's another one of those ones that just shouldn't be made into a movie.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense.
If the definition of cash grab could be defined by a movie, movies like Rampage, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Yeah,
that's literally that.
Yeah.
So that one. What about you, Bobby? What is your least favorite?
Again, I'm not really going to the movies to see video game movies, but when I was a kid, Double Dragon.
Okay.
Oh, Double Dragon. Oh, that reminds me. I had never watched Max Payne. I have not heard good things about it, though.
I think I saw it one time when I was younger, and I don't remember liking it.
Yeah, with Mark Wahlberg. On the topic of Mark Wahlberg.
It's not even Mark Wahlberg. It's
with Max Payne?
No, yeah, it's I don't think it's Mark Wahlberg. I think it's what's the guy from Jason Bourne?
No way. I'm about to Google this right now. That was definitely Mark. That was Marky Mark right there.
Are you sure?
Max Payne movie.
I'm on it right now. Max Payne. It was Mark Wahlberg as detective assigned.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
I must have been thinking about something different.
Ludacris. Okay, maybe I need to watch this to see what the hell Ludacris
side note,
is doing.
You know what I was very disappointed with, which was out of their control, but did you guys either of you ever watch either of the Hitman films?
No.
Oh no!
I know people were like lining up to watch that movie.
The first one with Timothy Olyphant, really good. Not a fantastic movie by any means, but a really good movie. Second one was gonna be amazing. I know it was. And then Paul Walker died because he was gonna play Agent 47. And then Paul Walker passed away, and they had to recast it. And the other actor, I don't even remember his name, did the best he could, but was not nearly as good.
Damn, that's a huge bummer. Dan says his least favorite was Street Fighter, which is one of Bobby's favorites.
Again, nostalgia. It's a bad movie. It's a bad movie, it's really sad.
Movie was a fun time though.
Well, here's the thing. And Raul Julia's last film, because he had pancreatic cancer, and the only reason he took it was so his kids can see him in a movie.
Yeah. I would say my least favorite is either going to be Doom or Blood Rain.
They made a Blood Rain movie?
Yes.
Dude, I feel like that would have worked as a movie. How did that movie suck?
It was so bad. Picture the worst possible Van Helsing movie you could ever have gotten.
Yeah.
And then about half as bad, twice as bad as that.
Who starred in that?
Nobody. It was. Let's see. Hold on.
It was a blank screen.
It was. Ben Kingsley was in it. He was the only good. He was the only good actor in it.
Michael.
No offense to any of the other actors from Blood Rain. If you happen to be watching this, I'm sure you guys are fantastic.
Well, I won't say that you're lying, because their budget of $25 million, they only made back $3.7 million in the box office with a 4% on Rotten Tomatoes. So I will take your word on it, and I won't watch it. But let it be known that piqued my interest for about 4 seconds.
A very young Michelle Rodriguez is in it as well, actually.
2005. This went under my radar. but that's probably for good reasons. It went on
Yeah.
everyone's radar being a financial.
Here's what I would
bomb.
say. I only remember watching it when it came out in theaters. It's been a long time, obviously 16 years since it came out. It could be better than I remember, but probably not.
Blood Rain with
Yes.
a 4% rating on Rotten Tomatoes
Yeah.
and only made $3 million worldwide.
Alberto, we should both watch it and see if it's any better today.
I'm down to Blood Rain 1 and 2.
Oh, fantastic games.
Really fun games. Besides the eye candy front covers that they did to get all 11-year-old boys to buy the game. The
100%.
game itself was actually
really
fun.
You know what would be a really good film? Ninja Gaiden.
Ninja Gaiden would be great.
That would they could make a really good film out of that.
Yeah. That or Hunter the Reckoning would be a really cool game or movie, but this is my last thought, but TV series, if I could pick a retro one, Bobby already picked something for Legend of Zelda, which I think would be great. I would love Kid Chameleon or Shining Force as two of the best Genesis games of all time being made into some awesome TV series. Man, I would watch that every day. That or Comic Zone. One of those three. You know
what I would love as a series?
Afro
I don't think it would work as a movie. Would be a Sly Cooper series. Like each season could be him working through different crimes and shit like that.
Yeah, it's like different heists, little by little.
Oh yeah, that'd be so good.
Afro Samurai would be a good one too. Someone also commented on that.
You know what game I want to see on our podcast, Christian? You know what I'm thinking about, because we need you to set this up.
Oh yes, I know. I've got a lot on my plate right now.
Okay,
I'm working on it. We will get a at least one D&D session in before this podcast fizzles out. You have my word.
Oh, I don't want this fizzle out. I'm taking this to the road.
I'm saying even if it takes years for this to happen, you have my word. I will get us at least one session in.
I have never played D. I am a nerd, and I've never played D&D, and I want to play D&D.
I got you.
I really want to play D&D. Every time I go into the comic shop, and I just see all the D&D books, D&D dice, I'm just thinking, shit, I need to play D&D already. I can't keep coming in here and not roll the die one day.
Well, you know what? We will get at least one session, if not a little mini campaign in this before the end of the summer. That'll be my mission.
I'm holding you to it.
You gotta get me in before.
I got you guys.
All right. On that note, I think we're going to say good night, everybody.
We'll wrap it up a little early tonight.
Everyone, have a good night. I think we'll be taking Memorial Day weekend off, and the way we roll, probably the next couple of weeks off. We'll see what we can do.
Hey, you never know what to expect. Just stay tuned to the Facebook group.
Yes. So, everyone, thanks for joining us. Alberto, Christian, thanks for joining us. Everyone, have a good night. We will see you guys next time.
Take care.
Good night.